Chris, we talked about how everyone's automating manual work. This is kind of a left-hand turn question for you, but what's something you deliberately chose to not automate and why?
Forecasting. It's going to sound like a Holiday Inn commercial, but for a brief period of time, I was a chief product officer at a public company, ran sales at a public company. Point is that I spent a fair amount of time outside of finance to figure out what the heck was wrong with the finance function. It allows you to have a high degree of empathy. Forecasting, I think it's very tempting to take all of this amount of information that could be quantified and then put an algorithm on it and have it spit out an answer and then move on. But at least in my experience, when you're with customers every day, there's so much more qualitative input that matters, even more so than the quantitative input. So like, what's the sentiment behind the numbers in the pipeline? What is the buying patterns of customers? Even though it says that there's this level of replenishment revenue in the pipeline, like what are we hearing? Because the macro is very different today than it was 6 months ago, than it was 2 years ago. So I've really resisted the urge to build kind of, set it and forget it on the forecasting tool and really rely on that staying hands-on. And by hands-on, I mean like conversing with the organization, meeting with our hunters, meeting with our farmers, sitting down with the extension of the marketing team. It's just so important to have a qualitative ear to the ground as much as you have a pulse on the quantitative side of things.
It sounds like even though you have access to more data than anybody at the company, you still talk to sales reps a lot.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm a wannabe sales rep.
Yeah?
That's what I would do all over again.
Run the Numbers is a mostly LLC production. Yelling an intro by Fat Joe. Artwork by some AI thingamajig. Podcast and video editing is done by Cleancast at cleancast.io. Nothing said on this podcast is intended to be business or investment advice. It's the sole opinion of me, a guy who feeds his dog too much ice cream and has a history of net operating losses, LOL. If you like this podcast, please hit subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. And also check out mostlymetrics.com. That's my newsletter where I explore business models and financial metrics. Thanks for riding with me. Share this with your friends. Peace.